It's much easier to find a job when you already have a job. Well, yeah, duh. And that's great advice, unless, of course, you don't have a job and now you are trying to find one, in which case, that advice helps nobody. Well, today, this video is for you. I'm going to talk about 4 steps that you need to take if you want to establish leverage as an unemployed candidate. It's actually a lot easier than it sounds, and today I'm going to show you how to do just that. Let's go. I'm Ben White with Ben Talks Talent. I've got 11 years experience in recruiting, team building, hiring, talent acquisition, and I am passionate about using my experience to help you become the best candidate possible and land your next job. Now, today I'm going to talk about a really important topic, and that is establishing leverage, negotiation leverage, and just leverage in general when you are unemployed. It is so much easier to do this when you are in a job, they reach out to you, and now you're interviewing for their role. But it does not always work out that way. In my past, I have been unemployed, and I remember trying to interview as an unemployed candidate. And there is a sense that you just kind of need to take whatever they give you because you need that job. And that makes it so much more challenging to establish leverage and get what you are worth. But today, I'm gonna show you how to do just that. I'm gonna jump into 4 steps that you can follow so that you can maximize this opportunity of interviewing as an unemployed candidate to get the best offer possible. So let's start. Now, the first thing you need to do as a candidate is you need to address their concerns and remove all doubt. Now, whenever you're interviewing as an unemployed candidate, right or wrong, there's a thought that, is there something wrong with this person? Is there a reason they were fired? Now, before you attack me in the comments of either LinkedIn or YouTube, I do want to say that I know that often this is not the case. Great people lose their jobs all the time. But hiring managers, recruiters, HR people, sometimes they look at that and they go, well, that's a red flag. So the first thing you need to do is remove the doubt that they have. So how can you do that? Well, there are several ways. If you can get a letter of recommendation from your previous boss stating that, hey, Ben was great, we had a big downsizing and Ben was unfortunately impacted, but I would hire Ben again, that is a great way to remove doubt. If you can get recommendations, references stating that you were a great employee, that is a wonderful way to remove that doubt. The last thing that you need to do is make sure you have a compelling story, right? You need to be able to tell them, hey, I was at my employer, I was removed because of blank, and here's what I've done in the meantime. So you want there to be productivity in that gap, right? So you either want to be learning, maybe you're taking little courses and you're learning through Khan Academy online. Maybe you're going back and getting a certification. Maybe you've been keeping up through different articles and learning your craft. So 1, remove all doubts by getting letter of recommendation. If you can, try to get references that will vouch for your character, work ethic, and effectiveness, and make that period productive. That's the first thing you need to do to try to remove their doubt that, hey, there is something that could be wrong with this person and makes them a potential flight risk or future problematic employee. The second thing you need to do to establish leverage is going to seem obvious, but you need to be a great candidate, right? If you go in there and you're kind of a middle of the road candidate, you don't wow them, it is going to be hard to establish leverage no matter what your situation is. So you need to do your research, right? You need to go in there prepared. Know about the company, know about their products, know about their mission statement, know about their values, and just come in there and position yourself as a perfect fit. I have got a library of videos. I suggest you go through and look through some of them, but the fact of the matter is you're never going to have any leverage unless you come in and you absolutely wow the people who are interviewing with you. You need them, when they're done interviewing you, to go, that was an amazing candidate. This is someone who is prepared, qualified, would fit with the team, and we must hire them. So no matter where you're at, if you're employed, unemployed, you need to prepare so that you go in there and you wow them so they know that you're a great candidate and you kind of, again, remove the doubts. The third thing that you need to do when you interview is remove their thought that there could be desperation on your part. So what does that mean? When you're interviewing as an unemployed candidate, there's this general sense sometimes that, okay, well, if we offer Ben a job, he's going to accept it. Of course, he is unemployed. That may be the case, but you don't want them thinking that because that cuts your negotiation ability and your leverage off at the knees. You want them thinking though, hey, even though Ben is unemployed, he doesn't necessarily have to accept this job with us. So how do you do that? So when you're talking to them and you're talking about your interest level in the role, you need to let them know at some point in the conversation that, hey, I'm really anxious and interested in getting back to work. However, Wherever I go next, I plan on being there for a while. So I am being very picky. I don't want to go somewhere and end up having to leave, a year or two later. I want my next stop to be somewhere I can be for 5 to 10 years. So I am taking my time and I am being picky on choosing my next opportunity. Now, I did a few things in there. One, I said I'm anxious to start a new job. And you're like, well, Ben, that's kind of counterintuitive to what you just said. I would say yes and no. You want them to know that you are very interested in getting back in the workforce, okay? So check. But you also want them to know that you are being picky. You don't want them to think you'll just accept anything. You want them to know that, okay, Ben is really looking for the right opportunity and he is only willing to accept the right opportunity at the right offer. You do that by saying, I am being selective. Wherever I go, I want to make sure I'm there for a long time, 5 to 10 years. So I'm going to be picky about where I land next. It's got to be a good fit for me. The third thing you did there is you said, I want to be there for 5 to 10 years. By you saying that, it lets them know, oh, yeah, Ben may be unemployed now, but he's not looking for a place where he can be for 1 or 2 or 3 years. He's talking in terms of 5, 10 years. That makes them feel good about your perspective of what your next stint might look like. Those are the 3 things you need to accomplish in terms of removing any belief of desperation. You are someone who is going to be selective, but you still want to come to work. You do those things and you can kind of do that. Lastly, negotiate like you normally would. Now, if you haven't already watched my video on salary negotiation, go watch that. That is one of my favorite videos. If you're watching this on LinkedIn, I'll link it below this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description box. If you go through at the bottom, I have a bunch of my most popular videos linked and you can find it there. But you should negotiate like you would at any other time. You have a job, you don't have a job. If you've done everything I've said up to this point, you've positioned yourself as a strong candidate, therefore earning yourself the right to negotiate for a fair compensation. You always have that. I know it's a little bit harder conceptually when you don't have a job because it's like I have nothing, so I don't want to push too hard. But if you do the right things, you do your research, you negotiate properly, you should be able to maximize this opportunity. Again, I don't want to go into depth here because it would take me 10 minutes to do so. So watch my other video. I'll link it, I'll link it below, but watch that. If you've done everything that I've recommended here, you have earned the right to negotiate a fair offer for yourself. So there you have it. Those are the things that I would do when it comes to negotiating and establishing leverage as an unemployed candidate. It is hard. It is not impossible. Good luck in your next interview. If you haven't already, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. And if you're still here, if you've watched this entire thing and you are still here with me, you are awesome. If you see this, leave a comment below so I know who you are. Thanks again. Good luck in your next interview. You've got this.